Hey, we're at the remote location today that Willie usually films at, cracking myself up. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into the episode after this. I just wanted you guys to see we're actually in person this time. So, yeah.
Live and in person.
Yeah.
For this very special episode.
Yeah, so we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Flashbacks, a Flash Rewatch podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Will.
And today, as the video you're probably going to see before this, we're actually in person this time, so we'll see if that kind of makes the flow of it, not that it's ever bad, but just makes the flow of it, maybe better.
Yeah,
usually when you're in person.
we're hanging out in the car too. We figured if we do a couple over-the-pants stuff, we might be able to build up some good chemistry here and just kind of relax and ease into it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But, we're going to go ahead and get into this Arrow crossover, and Flash has kind of like an attitude problem in this one. Do you think he's ready for war?
Oh, man. Okay. Wow, okay.
Yeah, context, he made a rap song that's called Ready for War.
Yes. So he's not a teenager, but I guess I could say that he kind of has teenage wildfire here.
Yeah, there you go. The reference to the coming-of-age book that I wrote that I'm sure I've talked about on my other podcasts. But yeah, anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into this episode. I got my notes. I'm going to try to put this right here. Let's see. See, it should still be able to pick us up. Or actually, let's try right there. Right there.
Oh, not right there. That's too close to mine.
Oh, okay. Let me just do it right there. That'll probably be better. But yeah, anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into this episode. Best episode so far. I guess I'm showing my hand a little bit.
Yeah, well, since we're doing audio only, they can't see your hand here. But yes, I would agree. It's definitely... It was the first time they did a crossover like this, right? Outside of when Barry was introduced on Arrow and stuff.
And like the little Felicity stuff on the, in the earlier episodes.
Yeah, and you can definitely see here that they're setting up their Superman and Batman that they couldn't get at the time.
Yeah, honestly, I don't want them to do Superman and Batman. It's okay. I'm not slamming the Arrowverse, but I do like what they ultimately ended up doing, so I'm fine with it. But yeah, I feel like I remember this episode and the Captain Boomerang stuff from part 2 to this crossover the most. I know that we didn't watch this really in preparation for it, but I do they do mention the whole Boomerang stuff. And then I rewatched that episode and a while back for Arrow, and Boomerang's kind of a non-character. I know it's not what we're talking about, but he's just kind of there. I don't even think he has the Australian accent or anything.
Not that I remember for sure. I guess we'll figure out when we watch it. But
yeah.
Actually, I think he did, because I want to say that Slade mentioned at some point that he knew him or something when they were on the island.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking about something.
I think there's a moment where he doesn't fully. It's really subtle. It's not like Jack Courtney with know what they say about the crazy ones like that. But yeah, it's a little bit more subtle, so maybe. But I feel like you can, going into the opening real quick, you can definitely tell when this came out because of the whole feels narration that he does. I'm like, man, this is so the 2010s era kind of thing.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. It's just really, this was the first time too, at least for me, on the TV that we had something of this scale crossover, really. Because before far, the only time really in superhero TV, at least, that we had seen something to this magnitude was Smallville when they were trying to build up their own Justice League. But those characters didn't have their own shows, and they weren't fully fleshed out like Oliver and Barry are.
They tried. I've actually seen, the
Aquaman.
Yeah, I've seen the Aquaman pilot. It wasn't great.
Which is funny because that actor went on to do great things, and he's killing it right now.
Yeah, he's like Kevin and This Is Us, right?
Alan Richardson? Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of...
you're thinking of Justin Hartley.
Yeah, Justin Hartley.
He also great things, yeah.
Yeah.
Alan Richardson, he has a big hit show on Prime right now called Reacher that does really well.
Unrelated, but I still say that he should be the new Terminator going forward, just because he's like kind of built like Arnold. He's just this huge dude, and he's got... No offense to Arnold, but he's got a little bit more acting chops than him.
Yeah, he also had a pretty big role in the most recent Fast and Furious movie too, and stuff like that.
Yeah, Titans as well, which Titans was kind of mixed, but he did good.
Hawk,
yeah, and
he was good.
He died terribly. Do you remember? Do you remember that?
I do. Yes.
We're not going to do a Titans rewatch podcast, guys. Sorry.
Watching it one time is enough.
Yeah, that was enough. I didn't even finish the last season. Anyway, we're talking about. We're off the rails right now. We're just gonna go back, but I like seeing Flash do small things like help random people, like running so fast that he delivers flowers to a random couple at lunch and makes it look like the guy did it. Yeah. Kind of thing. Like, that was nice. Like, you don't really see that a lot, I feel like, in superhero media. Like, them just doing, like, little small things for people like that.
And that's what I love the most. Not to talk about something else, but to just kind of point it to something else. My favorite, and this is also a hot take, so feel free to roast me in the comments. My favorite Spider-Man adaptation live action is the Andrew Garfield movies. And largely because of the little things that he does on the side, like talking to kids and stuff, like we help the kid with the science project.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many great scenes like that when you get to see the heroes not just save the day from villains, but, actually talk to citizens and interact with them and, like, do cool things like that.
Yeah, you get a little bit of that in the first Tom Holland movie, but after that, it's just like world-ending threat kind of thing, and I'm just like, okay, guys, like, I get it, but, like, also, if everything's a world-ending threat, nothing is kind of thing.
And it's really great to see the Flash do that, in particular, I think, because later on in the show, a lot of things do become, like, world-ending multiversal threats and stuff like that, and here, it helps it to remain grounded in that he's Central City's hero. He's not just this world hero yet.
And he's also green, too, which we'll get into more in this episode. But
no, that's the other hero.
Yeah, you're right. I made a mistake. See, I get confused on the collars, you see.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the opening monologue about feelings, it kind of plays into the whole... It's heavy role in this episode, and, like, it's kind of like with the whole feelings and how he, like, gets affected by this... I got confused by the guy's name, the villain. Like, his name is Prism, but, like, they also call him Rainbow Raider, which is also... Yeah, oh, God. I remember hearing that, and I'm like... He said that with a straight face. Like, I would have liked a moment for Oliver just to be like, his name really is Roy G. Bigelow.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm like, alright. It's like, it's a stupid Silver Age thing. But speaking of that villain, he kind of looks like he wandered off a Guy Ritchie set. I don't know if you had that too. I was watching that whole bank robbery scene, and I was like...
That's a funny take. I definitely see that now that you say it.
Yeah, because I was looking at it, I was like, it looks kind of weird, and I thought about it for a second. I'm like, no, like, sorry, like, early 2000s Guy Ritchie. But, yeah. I like the whole thing of him, like, making everybody fight in the bank as, like, a distraction kind of thing, so he could just walk out with the money. I thought that was really cool.
Well, and that's the thing, right? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think, to me, that this villain stood out like any other villains do this season. Because I think, generally, the focus here was more so about bringing Oliver and Barry together. But it was cool to see a different type of villain.
Right.
In that way, which I don't think that we've seen yet.
And then there's, like, a dark moment in that scene, and we're not going to go, like, scene by scene, guys, but just, like, some stuff that stood out to me. There's a surprisingly dark moment where a girl who's being controlled fires a gun at another civilian, and you can kind of see it on her face that she really doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, that was just one of those moments I was like, oh, wow. Like, it was like, up until that point, they was punching each other in the face, and that girl's like, it's kind of horrific.
It's very reminiscent of the scene they did Kingsman, the Secret Service.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, I was getting vibes. Like, as I was describing it, I thought, that's a crazy scene in that movie.
I don't remember if this episode came out before or after that movie, but I wonder if it was after, if this was inspired by that, maybe.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's, you talked about Smallville earlier. This whole thing gave me Smallville flashbacks where we see like the Bullet kind of traveling, and like he's not quick enough yet to where he can just catch it. Like it just bounces into, I guess, what's like a change machine or something.
Also, too, one thing, and this, I don't know that he shows up a lot on The Flash later, but one cool Easter egg, in the opening scene, you see a board that reads, "Made possible by Palmer Technologies," which starts to tease Ray Palmer, who then came into Arrow and all that stuff as well, and he's obviously known as the Atom, played by Brandon Routh.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and check that. You know who he was originally supposed to be, right? He was supposed to be Blue Beetle, I think. Like
a Ted Kord kind of?
Ted Kord, yeah. That's why his suit looks like that. Is because, like, because Adam kind of has that, but I feel like if you just slightly adjusted it, it would be, like, a really good, like, Blue Beetle outfit.
I'm happy with how it turned out.
Oh, yeah, me too. Like, he's great.
He is.
But, yeah, I forgot about the almost sex scene in between Eddie and Iris. Smooth line about how he believes in facts, evidence in her. Like, I was like, all right, man. Like, I like this. That was smooth. The thing that wasn't, though, is him bringing up, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Bringing up, like, her dad, like, in the middle of that. It's like rookie mistake number one, man.
That's honestly the first L that I've seen Eddie take throughout these 8 episodes so far.
He takes a beating in this episode, but yeah, I was like, Jesus. But, like that crack about, from Sing about why, when Eddie's like talking about the Flash and everything about how they need to track him down, they're like about, why don't you ask your girlfriend? She writes fan fiction about the Flash, was out of line, and I kind of felt sorry for Eddie because he really thinks he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sing was being a dick in this episode, man.
Yeah, I'm ready for him to die.
He does grow later on. That's what kind of took me off guard, because later on, I think he softens a little bit, where he's like a little nicer to everybody. But, I forgot he died. But, I didn't like that Iris said that Eddie is just jealous of the Flash. These parts of the episode where the characters start acting like they're still in high school, I feel like are the weakest parts of these episodes.
Yes, for sure. I would agree. One other cool thing, too, that I forgot to mention. So one of my favorite things that the CW shows do, they do the title intro. Yeah. Especially for the crossovers, they do something different. You'll notice when the Flash comes up here, they have an arrow going through the logo.
Yeah.
As well. I always thought that was just a neat little touch. It's like, this is a crossover episode when they do that.
That's one of my notes, too. I wrote that down. I was like, oh, I really like that.
Yes.
I like the Yoda joke that Cisco made, and it's made even funnier by the fact that no one responds to it, and he calls that out. And I think Caitlin's probably my favorite character in this episode. She finally does something that I've been wanting someone to say. She tells him the Flash and Barry should stay out of Iris and Eddie's relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, that was really good.
Go off, Queen.
Yeah, and then I found it humorous that, like a teenager, he blurts out, did you guys break up? And silently, whenever he's talking to Iris, and then have his hopes dashed, you can hear the sadness in his voice. I'm like, and then like again, just stop ruining Iris's love life and go. And I love that Caitlin said that, and I'm like, Caitlin is really just like getting it in this episode. Like, I have an all new appreciation. Not that I didn't appreciate her before, but like I really do like that they gave her stuff that like probably the audience is saying, or at least I hope they are at this point. Be like, dude, back off.
Can we also talk about Harrison Wells and how he just was able to figure out who the Arrow is?
Yeah.
Very calculating.
Do you think that he knew? Because, like, he's from the future. So maybe that was... Because I had that thought going in where I'm like, maybe...
If I remember correctly, I don't remember which episode this is in, but I know at some point Oliver is fighting the Reverse Flash. And the Reverse Flash mentions pretty much he knows how old Oliver's going to be when he dies.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. So I get the feeling that he knew, obviously. He just didn't want to tell her.
wanted to test Felicity to see if she would like share that with him, which obviously she barely knows him, so like she's not gonna share. It's not her. I love that whole "it's not my secret to tell" thing. Like I thought that was a really good moment for Felicity.
Yeah, one of the few. You're right.
But yeah, I like that Arrow hits the villain with two. Like whenever he busts in, he hits Prism with like 2 arrows, and then compliments Barry's mask and everything. I thought that was cool. And then my favorite, I know you remember this. This is one of the standouts. I will never get tired of Diggle being weirded out by the Flash's powers. I also like that they are sending, that they are seeding Captain Boomerang in this, and it's Boomerang's material and its large concentration of set material being the end story reason of why Team Arrow is in Central City. Yeah, like that's great. And then, again, like I already know what the humor section is going to be for this episode, but I do love.
I already have mine. Mine comes down to one quote.
Yeah, I do love Diggle's line to Barry about him having a cousin who once got hit by lightning, only gave him a stutter afterwards.
My favorite, the one that had me chuckle the most, I thought this was actually really good writing, which I don't see a lot for these shows. But Oliver Queen said at one point, "I have a prison like this. Mine's on a nearly inhospitable island in the North China Sea." This works too.
They almost play him as like socially inept a little bit at first, where it's cool. I kind of forget that he's not as like fully developed in the earlier seasons, because later on I feel like emotionally he's a little bit more healed, so like he acts more like a person later on. But yeah, I appreciate that. I like how Arrow wants to just go back home. Because if he teamed up with Barry, that would mean more people would know his secret identity, since too many people know already.
And more people that he cares about could get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And then I also love how they keep leaning into Diggle, weirded out by Barry's powers joke when Flash speeds off with Felicity.
Yes, very, very comical.
And then the next part, I was mildly amused with Felicity's shirt catching on fire, and it wouldn't be the CW without her being shirtless. It felt of its time, and it works because it's Felicity, and they kind of make it awkward and like a joke out of it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, at the same time, it's like, really, guys, like, come on.
I thought it was fair, only in the sense that they do the exact same thing, but far more times with Oliver.
Yeah.
And the characters all throughout the show.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, oh, I can't do.
Yeah. It'd be funny if like he had to speed Oliver there, and then like his shirt caught on fire, and then he had to take off his shirt.
That is one thing that this show did. They were very more. I guess they more so emphasized the male eye candy than the female eye candy, whereas previous shows had obviously done that more. So
I mean, look at the poster for like Smallville. It goes all the way back there for season 1, where he's just like shirtless with like a big S. Yeah, it's like that's always been kind of in there.
But you can always count on the CW for that.
Yeah, I didn't. I was kind of surprised that they didn't mind the Flash Felicity dating thing. It didn't last as long as I remember it lasting. Kind of wish they'd let it go on a little longer.
I agree. I wish they would have dove more into that and not even. Well, the thing is this, right? So if you find a way to take Felicity, not necessarily off of Arrow, but maybe off entirely for a season.
Yeah.
To go work with Barry in Central City and develop their relationship. At the end of the season, they figure out, okay, maybe we're not meant for each other. That you don't have to have Barry feel like a jerk and a creep for always trying to get involved in Iris and Eddie's relationship all the time. Barry needed that second relationship or character to bounce off of.
And I think they realized that probably, and that's why in season 2, like, again, spoilers, they introduced my favorite character, Patty Spivot, in there. Yes. Let's go. Yeah. We're gonna make shirts, guys, don't worry. But, I also like the whole, like, Joe and Wells don't trust Arrow because he's not a murderer now, but like he had murdered in the past, and it's realistic. And like honestly, like I feel like other shows would probably not even address it and be like, fine, whatever. But I do appreciate that they're just like, no, like this guy's clearly like crazy, and that
which is very funny because Joe doesn't trust Wells either, and Wells, as we figure out as it unravels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then I like that Barry defends Team Arrow. And then and then Arrow, like, we have, like, this cross-cutting thing where we see Arrow also talking to Diggle, and then he's like, he just has powers now, Diggle. He's the same guy we knew before.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I'm like, I like that. And then, I do like, there was, like, a subtle moment that I don't think I realized the first time when I was watching it, where he effortlessly switches from, like, his, relaxed talking voice with Diggle to, like, the scary interrogation mode with the criminal. I thought that was kind of cool.
I would agree. I think really this episode, man, for me, what's so special about it is you start to see the development of Barry and Oliver's relationship / mentorship. I think it's more of a mentorship in the beginning, and then later on they become friends and they have a healthy respect for each other. But at this point, we're 8 episodes in, Barry has yet to really grow.
Yeah.
And so I think this was his episode to grow and also be humbled a bit and see a couple other things. And who better to teach him how to grow than the character at this point in the Arrowverse who has grown more than any character, which is Oliver Queen.
Yeah. And I do like that, I like that Arrow is still not directly teaming up with Barry, but he is giving him leads to find the bad guy. Iris is so thirsty for Oliver in this episode.
Yes. Oh, man. Yes. I also, one cool thing that they do here, which I don't know if I like it actually now that I'm saying it out loud, because it leads to a lot of plot convenience later on.
Yeah.
But they start up this working relationship between Team Arrow and Star Labs a lot more, where it's like, oh, well, let's just send it over to this lab and get it fixed over there. Oh, let's just do this.
Yeah.
Cisco made you this new hero.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's a little easy.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then... Oh, I do love that, and this is something I didn't pick up on the first time, but when Felicity is, I think it's either Felicity or maybe Caitlin, she calls, Barry's foster dad, Joe, basically. I do like that. Like, I think is that maybe the first time we've heard somebody referred to like that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and then, and I know you remember this shit. The training scene will always be a moment I remember from the first real crossover in the series in general.
Yes. When he doesn't expect that arrow to come through. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And you just see the tonal differences in the shows here.
Exactly.
Which is also cool for the characters of Arrow to be able to come into the show and be a little more lighthearted and have some fun for an episode.
Yeah, man. And then, like, they do call back to it, obviously, in the future, though, too. Like, I can't wait till we get to that future episode where Barry gets his revenge, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's all I'll say now, because I know I spoiled this show like crazy, guys. But anyway.
It's a rewatch podcast. They should have already seen it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. It's your fault. Fuck you. But yeah, anyway. I also love the idea of the Flash casing a place before he acts, being recommended by Arrow, because I don't think I've ever seen that in any other, like, Flash thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's brilliant.
Barry normally just runs straight in.
Yeah,
Full
exactly.
head of steam. You even hear him say in one episode, don't run angry or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that gets him in trouble because he has less intel, right? Whereas Oliver is all about intel and then, a lot of times coming in stealthily and taking things down.
Exactly. And then I like how Joe confronting Barry about how Arrow got the criminal's name being wrong and him calling him crazy. I don't necessarily like that Barry agrees with him because it feels out of character. That being said, he follows that up with him defending his methods. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That kind of bugged me a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think you see in this episode, Barry's also going to be more likely to defend Oliver just because, he looks up to him, right? Because this is the only other real hero in this world at this point. And even though he might not have the same methods as Barry, I think since he's been doing this a while, it's something else to look up to, even if he doesn't have powers. This is just literally a man to basically the point of peak physical human condition in this universe doing it.
He kind of looks like he obviously looks up to him a lot, though, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he definitely holds on to every word that Oliver says, and
Definitely.
they mean a lot to him, and you see it a lot later on, especially in some of the final episodes.
There's definitely an evolution of that, though. I think they go from, like, mentor, like, mentee kind of thing to, like, just friends to brothers, basically, by the end, which I really do appreciate that character growth and that kind of relationship growth, too. I think that's cool.
Agreed.
And Wells is clever for trying, I know we mentioned this earlier, for trying to find out Oliver's identity from Felicity so he can better trust him. I like that she says it's not her secret to tell. So yeah, basically just like what we said earlier. And then Wells saying, I'll find out on my own sounds like a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think he knew the whole time.
Oh yeah. His whole thing, like I think he very much enjoys manipulating people. It's kind of like somebody who's seen a movie before you, like somebody that likes to spoil movies, but like, oh, I know something you don't know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff.
But he also, what I like about it is he plays it close to the chest. Yeah. He'll pretend like he doesn't know, but he does know. He knows how everything's going to play out.
And he's smart, too. Yeah.
Beyond that.
Yeah, like he's like a genius. And I was trying to, oh yeah. I like that Barry doesn't need or thinks he doesn't need the Arrow's help after the crazy training exercise. And the whole thing with Felicity, too, being like, he'd be like, oh, he actually did that? I can't tell when he's joking or not. And then, like we kind of said earlier, Prism is a forgettable villain, and I forgot what his villain name was, and I feel like his power set is more memorable necessarily than he is.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And then I do like that Prism's effects are subtle at first, with Barry being extremely rude to his friends and Oliver. I don't like these being rude to his friends. Like, I like that it's subtle. And then I laughed so hard in the scene where Barry is insulting Oliver. I would like, instead of him just like, being all calm, Oliver, like he just decks him right there, whatever he's talking. That'd be awesome. Just knocks him out.
It definitely would be.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I would say with that is, and I know this isn't the Arrow Rewatch podcast, but at this point too, Oliver has also grown a lot to where I don't think he would let his anger allow him to do that at this point.
Yeah.
Granted, he kind of does like 2 episodes from now when he literally gets stabbed through the chest with a sword and dies.
Yeah, well,
okay. For like an episode.
No one's perfect, but I like that Joe saves Barry when he's being rude to Captain Singh. Like, he immediately just goes in defense mode. He's like, hey, blah, 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 like, kind of thing, and, like, diffuses it a little bit.
This isn't you. You need a Snickers.
Yeah, that'd be great. Like, product placement. like, I just got to that scene. That'd be a funny sketch. But, I like that Joe realized Barry had been affected by Prism when he was yelling at him. I forgot that he pushed him. Like, did you remember that? Like, when he just pushes him, I was like, wow. Like, I was actually kind of shocked.
No.
I think I gasped, actually. I was like, whoa. But, yeah, and then I like, speaking of Grant's performance, I like that he doesn't go too far over the top or cartoonish with his acting in these scenes. I feel like it could have gone that way.
He wasn't Bully McGuire.
Yeah, no one can be Bully McGuire but him. That Prism kind of has Bully McGuire's haircut in this one, though.
That is true. That is true.
But, oh yeah, Wells telling Felicity that they'll need Oliver's help to stop the Flash is great. Also seeing her shock that he knows is great. Like, she's almost on the verge of tears. Like, she's just like, oh shit, kind of thing. Eddie's anger over Iris not telling him that she's been having secret meetings with the Flash is totally justified and somewhat cathartic. Also like how this scene is played like a boyfriend finding out his girlfriend's been cheating on him.
Well, yeah, because, in a way she has been.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there, because what I'm saying there can get taken out of context, though. But if you're in a committed relationship with someone, especially someone that you have moved in with, because they've moved in together at this point, I believe, and stuff like that, you're concerned for their safety. And if she's out there doing this, and, like, especially if she's not even telling you, like, where she is or stuff like that, or what's going on, like,
yeah,
I see that as
that's like emotional
huge red flag.
It's like emotional cheating kind of thing. But yeah, and then I have a question for you. Do you think Cisco is annoying or funny? I feel like season 1 Cisco is annoying. Sometimes I know certain members of Team Arrow find him annoying.
So when we first watched the show back in 2014, the humor that he had was very meta at the time. For a lot of it, at that time, I found it to be very funny.
Yeah.
Now that I'm rewatching it, I do find it to be annoying. I'm like, come on, man. It's just, it was very par for the course at the time, too, because Marvel movies were starting to get to the point where it's like, oh, quick, make a quip here, make a quip here.
Yeah.
But all he does is make quips, and it's...
I think this is one of his first acting roles, though, too. It's what I heard, which, like, good for him. But, like, it, like you're saying, and...
He does the role well.
Yeah, it was cool to have like a nerd, like a nerd that we could kind of identify with in the show. I think that's what he's there for. That's kind of his appeal.
He's our lens into that world.
Yeah, and he gets some baddies though too. Like later, like I forget what her name is, but like she like goes through like different multiverses or something.
I forget what they call her, but yeah.
Yeah, she's great. But I do like his later girlfriend though too. She's also good. We'll get into that in the future though. I feel like they do more than approve a task force to get the Flash after he attacked Eddie, but I'm glad there are some consequences to his actions.
Agreed. Yeah. Also, if I can point back to a previous point, because this just popped in my head, and
sure.
If I don't say it, I won't forget myself. Even if they didn't bring Felicity over to the Flash to kind of keep Barry away from the Eddie-Iris relationship, but still have him obviously love her from afar, they could have leaned more into the whole Barry and Caitlin thing that they keep hinting at in the first season a little.
Because nice.
Caitlin is also, distraught, obviously, from, losing Ronnie, and maybe they reintroduce Ronnie too early.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think they could have let that build up, and then towards the end of the season, Ronnie shows up versus at the end of this one.
Yeah, I mean, like, Smallville would do that, too, though, where they would have Clark date other people besides, like, we didn't even get Lois until, like really them dating until, like,
him and
season
Lana
8.
don't even really get together until, like...
Oh, my God. I got something to tell you that's really going to clear up some things of why Lana was there for so long. Yeah. Apparently, one of the showrunners back then said, well, if... Like, everybody knows that Lana and Clark, like, if we had our way with it, Lana and Clark are endgame kind of thing. I'm like, what? I'm like, no. Like, it's Lois. What are you talking about?
So I agree in every other iteration.
Yeah.
But I do think what Tom Welling and Kristen Krug, is that?
Yeah, Krug, yeah.
Yeah. They had just insane levels of chemistry that I think they held on to that for so long because it was so popular.
Right.
So many people did want it to be in game that they literally the only way to get that character away from Clark, they had to put kryptonite in her body.
I hated that. I at the time, I think I was like, oh, it's so tragic because I was all emo and shit. But I'm like,
I know for a fact I was in middle school crying hard tears over that one.
It's like, what? They can't be together.
Oh, what?
What? But yeah, anyway. Get her out of here. But yeah, anyway, I like how Diggle is basically taking bets with Team Flash over who will win, like comic book nerds do whenever Arrow and Flash are fighting.
Yeah.
And then I like the look of horror at first when Oliver realizes how powerful the Flash really is, kind of thing. You see that look, like that brief, like, oh shit moment.
Yeah. Which, it's funny to me that he has that moment, not because he doesn't realize how powerful Barry is, but later on you find out a lot of things about Oliver, that he's actually seen some pretty weird stuff beforehand. So for him to be shocked by any of this is like...
They kind of pull
out of place.
They kind of pull like a Star Wars like prequel thing where it's just like, yeah, I had all these adventures and everything, but like it's from a certain point of view, or like R2-D2, how he has all these extra features that he never uses.
It's like, Oliver, you were running with Constantine, man. You've seen some shit.
Yeah, and it's just like, I did a lot of, I wasn't on the island the whole time. I remember that moment being just like, everybody shut up, like I wasn't on the island the whole time. But yeah, I like how ruthless Barry is in this fight, and how he can, and how like Oliver can keep up with the speedster. I also like that, I still believe in you, Barry line. I thought that was really, really great, and also just gave us some insight into Oliver's character.
I definitely agree, because he also, I know, again, this is a Flash podcast, but if we're taking this into consideration as well.
We're going to talk about a lot of things, guys, okay?
With Oliver, too, his arc in this episode, I think, is not just as a mentor and a teacher, but this is his way of teaching someone to do it right and avoid the mistakes that he made, you know. while he was coming up, and so, I still believe in you, Barry. Oliver is also trying to, I think, prove to himself that he can actually be a hero and be a symbol of hope for Star City.
Right. And I also taking kind of a page, it kind of gave me vibes of the Iron Man and Spider-Man thing. It's like, I just want to be like you, I want you to be better, that whole thing. Yeah, definitely same kind of thing.
Fully agree.
But yeah, I like, it's super comic booky that Joe and Wells use the equivalent of a light show in the van to break Barry from prison's hold.
Yeah. I don't think they had a good enough way or reason to do it. I think that was we'll just do this too. But again, I think that whole plot point with Prism, that didn't even feel like the main plot point to me. I think they were just trying to get it out of the way, really.
Yeah. I could see that, but yeah. I do like that it was a tie and that Cisco, the ultimate nerd, pointed that out. There's a thing in Marvel where Stan Lee used to write these versus battles, and so either fan wouldn't be disappointed. He would always end it in a tie, so that it's both are strong and it doesn't ruin the other character kind of thing.
For sure.
Yeah. I thought his name was I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I thought his name was Rainbow Raider. This is paid off by Caitlin suggesting it after he's in prison and Cisco shutting it down because he makes the names. It sounds like Rainbow Raider is a dumb name, to be fair. But yeah, anyway. I always forgot. I kind of mentioned this earlier, how not well adjusted Arrow is compared to later. I also like that Joe thanks him while still not agreeing with his methods, and that Team Arrow seems to have bonded a lot with Team Flash in this episode.
For sure.
Yeah. And then, did you remember that this was around the time of Canary's murder? Because I didn't.
Yes, I did. Only because in my preparation for this, when I did rewatch this episode, I was watching Arrow concurrently. So I kind of already knew what was kind of going on there. That was when, I believe in the first episode of season 3, Sarah's just...
I hate it. I'm glad they brought her back. I hated that.
You're just going to kill the best character ever now. Okay.
Yeah, it's around the time of Game of Thrones, so they were probably, I think even people said at the time, they were probably trying to cash in on that. It's unexpected, so we'll get viewers and stuff.
Yep.
Also, killing a character that's bi or gay isn't great, especially just for no reason, basically.
For sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I would say if you're gonna kill a character, there needs to be stakes. No matter what their sexuality, that is obviously, of course. But if that is something from a business perspective, which I think they were trying to do at this time, that you're trying to cash in on, which is the CW, so I think they were, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, fair.
Fair point.
Yeah. I like that Wells tells Oliver he's met his dad and he'd be proud of him. I like that Oliver thinks there's something off about Wells. Just instantly. It's very Batman of him to be okay, there's something wrong with this guy.
Yeah, and Oliver kind of has that, I guess, what's the word? Clairvoyance, I guess.
Intuition kind of
Intuition,
thing.
yeah, for a lot of it.
Yeah.
He could just kind of sense things.
Yeah.
From his time on the island, or off the island, wherever he was.
Yeah, wherever. China, whatever. But yeah, I like that Eddie is wanting to arrest Flash now. I also like that Oliver tells him that guys like them don't get the girl. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I love that. And the whole personal cost superhero thing. That's my favorite. That's my shit. That's what I like. When I used to write superhero stuff, that's what I would try to inject in there. Because otherwise, what are you doing? You have to have the whole no good deed goes unpunished thing.
Yeah. There's a cost.
Yeah. And then I thought it was cool that they see the Williams storyline in this with
which was very interesting because they don't pay this off at all until 3 seasons of Arrow later.
And then I do like that Iris is mad at the Flash at the end and feels betrayed and tells him to cut contact with her. Smallville would have just had it all be fixed at the end.
Which is also very funny because the lady. Oh, wait, I'm trying to think. Go ahead, go on.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I know that she definitely plays into the plot more later. And this one, I was just did Oliver have a kid or something like that? It's just supposed to get you wondering about it.
Yeah.
But I love like you said earlier, the arrow through the Flash logo. That was cool. And then kind of wrapping it up with these last two. I like that we get more of Ronnie at the end of this, and the effects still look good. Did you think that too, like with the fire? I thought it looked pretty good.
I agree. Ronnie's effects I always thought looked really good in the show.
Yeah, and then to wrap it up here before we get to our final stuff, overall one of the best episodes of the season so far. Crossovers were always so satisfying in the Arrowverse, and also, another note, when I stopped watching the Arrowverse regularly, I would still check out the crossovers because those were always fun.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any final thoughts for you?
I think that this and I think I still weirdly prefer the Arrow crossover more so than this, just because of I think I was just really into Arrow at the time. I did love the Flash a lot.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree, and I think the reason I'll say that is on Arrow, the stakes always feel higher because I think it's a more serious toned show.
Right.
And I find it personally more interesting for the Flash characters to go over there and be a little more serious and have to do a little more acting than for the Arrow characters to come into the Flash universe and just tell jokes.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if I told you this before, but Felicity, they were originally gonna try her out. It's like basically, it's like, what do we do with this character? And like maybe move her over to the Flash show. Like that's why she was in that crossover episode the first time.
Yep, and they should have.
Yeah, at least for like you said, just for a few episodes, just so like maybe Oliver has a moment where like you don't know what you have till it's gone. He's kind of like, oh, I miss like Felicity out here, kind of thing. But yeah, I guess. Did you have any final thoughts or?
Man, I just thought it was a really great episode. This is one of those when I think about the Flash that I think I remember the most at the time, because this was right after 2012's Avengers came out, stuff like that.
That's
where you see all these team ups and crossovers.
Yeah.
This is when it started.
Yeah.
And like for this to happen on TV and not in a movie too was also really huge. Just a great thing, man. 5 out of 5 lightning bolts.
Yeah, definitely. And then heart, humor, and spectacle for me. The heart would be all the stuff with Arrow and the Flash that I believe in you. I still believe in you part, obviously. The humor would be all the stuff with Diggle. Spectacle would obviously be that big fight between him and the Flash. I thought that was really well done.
This might be the first time on this where I think I agree with you on all of those.
Nice. But yeah, this was cool being in person, doing this, kind of a throwback to how we used to do things. And then we did like a YouTube video back in the day.
It's just very weird that you said we had to take our clothes off for this one. I don't know.
Man, it's part of it's just part of the show, man.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put your clothes back on now. The episode's done.
Okay.
Oh, that sounded dark. Anyway, we're just gonna move on from that. We will see you guys at the Speed Force. I'm Alex.
I'm Will. See ya.